Okay, last part of the chapter, required return components. So we are talking about stocks in this chapter. We have just finished the part of the chapter where we are asked to calculate the price that you would be paying today, right? Now let's look at a different part of our stock problems. The discount rate, the R, right? The annual rate of return on a stock. So what can we say about the annual rate of return? Let's start with an example. Let's say you're buying Google shares. They kind of fluctuate in price a lot, but let's make something simplified. Let's say today you could pay $500 for a share. And let's say next year you're expecting to receive a $10 dividend, and if you sell the share, you would get $550 for it. So you're paying a $500 price today at time t. So that's capital P subscript t, price at time t, kind of more generally. And then at time t plus 1, so one time period later, the price will go up. So the new price will be $550 in our example. That's capital P subscript t plus 1, right? Price in time t plus 1. And also, there's one more thing that you will be receiving over this time period, the dividend. It's $10 in our problem. So that's D, capital D, subscript T plus 1. And so if you sell your share after one time period, you will get both the dividend, $10, and the new price per share, $550. So a total of $560. What is the return on your money? Well, there are actually two ways to talk about returns, in dollars or in percent. In dollars, you make extra 10 and extra 50, right? So a total of $60. So $10 from the dividend plus the difference between the new price, $550, and the old price, $500. The percentage return over 1 year is then taking the dollar return, $60, and dividing by how much you invested, $500. And that gives 12%. So we can talk about returns either in dollars or in percent. But we can also split our return into what the source of it is. So we get a dividend income, $10. Let's say that's all you get. Let's say there will not be that price increase that I gave in this problem. So if the dividend is all you earn, then the return on your money is 2%, which is the $10 dividend income divided by how much you invested or how much you paid to get one share, $500. Now, in our problem, that wasn't the only source of our income. We also made money because the price went up. The price per share went up. That's capital gain. So we paid $500, but then 1 year later, we sell the share for $550, right? So our capital gain is the $50 difference. The capital gains yield is the same thing expressed in percentage terms, where we take the $50 capital gain and divide again, just like with the dividend yield, by how much we invested, which is the $500 that was paid to buy one share. So $50 divided by $500 gives a 10% return. So we made 2% more money just from the pure dividend that was paid to us. And we also made, separately from that, another 10% more money just based purely on the fact that the price per share went up. And so the total return is, if you look at it in dollars, you combine the $10 dividend with the $50 capital gain and get $60. Or you can do it in percentage terms by combining the dividend yield, 2%, and the capital gains yield, 10%. and you get 12%. Or instead, to find the total percentage return, you take the total dollar return, $60, and divide it again by how much money you invested, which is $500. So that's another way to get the 12% total percentage return. To summarize, if you are interested in calculating the return in dollars, you would need to combine the dividend income, which is in dollars, and the capital gain, which is also in dollars. By the way, what is capital loss? Capital loss is basically a negative capital gain. So technically we can call all stock price changes as capital gain, except some cases would give you a positive number, others a negative number. So if our stock price went down, then that would be called capital loss. Or we would still call it capital gain, but the value will be a negative number. Instead, you might be interested, which is typical what we are doing in this class, you might be interested in calculating the return in percent. So you take the dividend expected one time period in the future, plus the price per share expected one time period in the future, then you subtract the price that you would be paying today. And then the whole thing, which is actually the total dollar return, is divided by the price that you're paying today. Mathematically, this fraction could be split into the sum of two fractions. One being just the dividend, return, right? Or dividend yield, where you take next time period's dividend and divide by the price you pay today. And then you add to that the second component, which in the numerator has the price change, the capital gain, right? Price in the next time period minus the price paid today. And in the denominator, it's the price paid today. So you combine the dividend yield, which is in percent, with the capital gains yield, which is also in percent, and get the total percentage return.